So now we come to the main crux of today's presentation about how do I generate ideas? What is the sources which are used for idea generation? Because a lot of people ask me, what are the sources which you use for generating your ideas? And today I would like to share that in detail with our learning community.
Awesome.
So every day I diligently review all of the corporate announcements on the Bombay Stock Exchange. It is a painstaking exercise for many, but for me, it is like an intellectual treasure hunt wherein I may strike gold anytime. And I look at press releases, investor presentations, any M&A deal, joint venture or partnership agreements. Whenever I'm evaluating quarterly results of companies on Screener or any other database, I try to look out for breakout earnings. What does breakout earnings mean? It means sales have basically grown more than 50% year on year. Profits and earnings have grown more than 300-400% year on year. That is called an earnings breakout. And the stock market is very slow to adjust the stock price to the right intrinsic value immediately. So you get what is known as a post earnings announcement drift. Even if you buy these stocks the next day after their earnings report, the previous night, even if you buy them 5-10% higher, that is not the correct intrinsic value. The intrinsic value actually is much higher. But the stock market takes its own sweet time to revalue the stock to the right high level. So watch out for breakout earnings when you're evaluating quarterly results. I also go through con calls of all the existing holdings as well as the watchlist ideas on Trendline, Alpha Street, Research Bytes. And in case of certain macro caps, you can also get their conference call transcripts by going to the company website, investor relations section. I also check what are the global peers are saying. What is their commentary? What is their outlook? This is especially important in commodity industries and chemicals and cyclical businesses like chemicals, because many Indian promoters have a tendency to make very overly bullish statements. So it's very important to corroborate that with what the global peers are saying. Also try to read as many management interviews as possible of all the watchlist companies and the portfolio companies. This can come from various sources in business magazines or articles on the internet or business channels. I use screening tools like Tejori Finance and Screener, and in that I look for companies which are either undergoing a very big capex program or companies which have already completed a very big capex program. I also look for a list of stocks which are hitting 52-week high, all-time high, or a post-IPO new high. Now let me emphasize a bit on this last point about post-IPO new high. Many times in the Indian market, you'll notice that companies get a very big listing pop, and then they go into consolidation for 8-9 months or 10 months or more. And then they again break out after that long period of consolidation. And that breakout after that long period of consolidation generally coincides with some important corporate development in that company. So always be on the lookout for a post-IPO new high. And one more very important point I would like to share with all our learners here is that when you're evaluating price action, time frame matters. So immediately after a bear market crash, look for stocks which are hitting a 3-month or a 6-month high. In a mature bull market, which is in late cycle, look for stocks which are hitting multi-year highs. In a non-trending, range-bound or sideways market, look for stocks which are breaking out to 52-week highs. So time frame is very important when you're evaluating stocks hitting highs. Just keep that in mind. I also go through equity research reports. These are some of my favorite broker names whose equity research reports are pretty informative. Ambit, ICICI Securities, Spark Capital, India Infoline, Nirmal Bang, and Axis. I go through the annual reports diligently every year, and credit rating reports are also very important because they are a rich source of information. Now, on the credit rating reports, I would like to make an important point here that for many macro cap companies which have got loans outstanding or may have taken loans in the past, these credit rating reports are often the only third-party source of information available to you in the absence of conference calls and presentations. And you will find such information in those credit rating reports of those macro cap companies, which you cannot find anywhere else. So pay attention to credit rating reports. DRHPs or draft red herring prospectus and QIP offering documents, both are a very rich source of information on any particular industry. As an example, if you want to learn about the music licensing industry in India, you can read the recent QIP offering document of Sargama Limited. So these two documents give you very rich source of information on a particular industry. I also read the investor letters by fund managers whom I admire for their investment philosophy. Some of them are Solidarity, Sage One, and Equirus. They publish very good investor letters. I also try to attend investing conclaves like Tamil Nadu Investor Association or India Investing Conclave, and webinars like those held by SOIC. A less talked about source for idea generation is the fund manager's top 5 holdings from PMS Bazaar website. Now, the sign up is free, but very few people know about this particular source. You can actually log into this website and get the top 5 holdings and weights of fund managers whom you admire and respect in the stock market in India. So this is a very good source for idea generation. And thanks to you, Vivek, and thanks to the Stock Edge app, that's a great source of idea generation through information on bulk deals, block deals, and insider buying. And I also look at the 52-week high volume list on a daily basis, because anytime a stock experiences a 52-week high volume, something generally tends to be happening in that particular company. It can be on the upside or the downside, but something interesting is happening. So then I start looking up the news articles on that particular company. What has exactly happened in the last 1 month? I read magazines like Forbes India, Fortune India, Outlook Business, and I read newspapers. I read the digital edition of Economic Times. I also go through industry specific websites. Like, for example, for chemicals, you have got Chemical Weekly. For steel, you have got Steel Mint. For commodities, you have got Platts. So I have a list of industry specific websites, which I go through as well. And the next point is a very common one. We have daily discussions with our peers and colleagues in the Indian stock market. I also look out for views of the leading analysts of individual sectors. Social media platforms like WhatsApp, Twitter, Telegram channels are also a good source for sourcing ideas. And I also read online forums like Value Picker and Multiply. Now, I would like to ask our learning community one question. Just think and ask yourself, if you go through all these sources on a daily basis for the rest of your investing career, how can you not help but become successful? If you follow this particular list, you will be literally flooded with great ideas all the time. But you have to be unreasonable, like I write in my book. You have to be very demanding in your hurdle rate for incoming investments. You have to differentiate between the very good ideas and the excellent ideas. And like Warren Buffett has said, the difference between the successful people and the very successful people is that the very successful people say no to almost everything. You have to learn to say no, go through all these sources, and then only invest your hard-earned money into exceptional opportunities or opportunities which can give you very high returns from the current market price. That is a discipline which you have to maintain at all times. So just wanted to highlight that. That's awesome. Very, very important.
It's a great checklist. I wish people take a printout of this checklist and put it in front of their desk.
Well, Vivek, that is, in investing, the person that turns over the most rocks wins the game, like Peter Lynch has said.
Yeah.
In life, relationships, business, or investing, nothing will work unless you do. And the more rocks you turn over, the more ideas you'll get. And then you simply have to pick the best out of those opportunities which you come across. That is the whole idea. There is no alternative to hard work. But the stock market is a place where if you put in the hard work on a daily basis, you will be highly successful over the long term. That I can tell you with high conviction.
Investments in the securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.